everyone. Welcome to Coffee with CiCi. I am your host, CiCi, a first-generation immigrant, so who is here to chase the American dream. And I am so excited to start these adventures with all of you. Honestly, that I have never imagined that I could be hosting a podcast. Mm, there are so many inspirational and motivational shows out there already. They are hosted by eloquent speakers with they speak a perfect English. There is no accent, right? And then they provide incredible perspectives. So it made me wonder that, who am I to bring values to you? And can I bring values to you, right? But hey, that I am here because I just wanted to share. I wanted to share. So therefore, with that in mind, this podcast has two main goals. Number one is to record like my personal growth, and number two is to share how other successful business people build and grow themselves from a different angle. So each episode we will dive into our personal growth and personal experiences and challenges and their trophy times that make life so fascinating. Um, so by sharing these stories that we hope that we have more access to inspire and empower others, empower each other to really navigate our own journey with some more confidence and resilience. And you are very welcome to participate by commenting or dropping hearts, thumbs up, likes, or any emojis, so that our guests know that you are here with us, and so we grow together. And so with that said, today that we are super excited to introduce someone truly remarkable. So she's a visionary leader, an inspirational speaker, and a trailblazer in the financial world. So over the past 30 years, she's not only just shattered the glass ceiling, but also paved the way for future generations. And her dedication and innovative approach have set a new standards. And beyond of her professional achievements, she's a passionate advocate for several nonprofit organizations in New Jersey and New York areas, and always like strive to make a positive impact. So plus, she is my personal mentor, and which makes this extra special. So we are about to dive deep into her story and exploring the challenges she has overcome, and the milestones she has achieved, and the wisdom she has gained along the way. So let's get ready to be inspired by her insights, experiences, and wisdom for the future. So without any further ado, let's welcome Yin Long. And thank you very much for your time to join us today. And it's an absolute honor to have you here. And we cannot wait to share and to have your, to learn, have this conversation with you and to hear more about your journey. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Yin. Uh, and so since this is our very second episode, and you are very special guest, that what insights or messages would you like to share with our listeners about our podcast? Thank you.
CiCi, good morning. Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor. I'm so glad that you are doing this podcast because you are a very special person. And I think by sharing very openly about your personal growth, and I hope that many people can walk away with tips and pointers, and also that more importantly is to know there's someone just like them, like all of us are striving for success. Everybody has different definition for success. And it doesn't have to be evaluated by common denominators. So everybody has a so-called a scale that in your heart to measure your efforts. So I'm glad that I can be part of this journey. Thank you for inviting me. Um, there are many things that I wanted to share, but I think um, step by step, step by step. What I mean by that is my personal experience is vastly different from anyone who are listening right now, and vice versa. And to believe there is a golden key or to believe there is the right path, I think that's a misunderstanding, in my opinion. I think there's no right or wrong. There are modifications along the way that we need to learn how to correct ourselves. I believe in reflection, personal reflection, stop and check, and to understand that mentally, physically, you are who you want to be. And oftentimes that we forget because of the busyness, which I want to share a fun fact about Chinese characters. There are so much wisdom in how our ancestors structured words. And that basically is so true across different cultures. If you dive a little deeper into how the characters were formed, you understand there are so much wisdom. So busy in English, translated to Chinese, is 忙. And if you know how to write this character, there are two parts, left and right. Chinese characters is like a drawing, right? So when you put two parts together, the left part means 心, heart. The right part, 亡, means death. So when you put two parts together to express busy, 忙, it means heart and death. If your heart is dead, doesn't matter how busy you are, it will not lead you to anywhere. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely. Actually, this resonated because previously I had a conversation with other coach, and he also mentioned about his understanding of busy, and I remember he said that busy is actually a abbreviation of by others measurement, or by others meanings that like by
Yeah,
others standard, or
standard.
yeah, standard, yes, yeah.
So when you think about it in today's life, that everything is about how fast we get there, right? How
Mm,
quick
right.
we can get results and how busy I am, how many multitaskings that I am doing at today, or how many things are waiting for me to tackle, right? So it's all about how busy. And probably the most common words that that you hear from people is how busy they are. It's almost like we have to use a busy schedule as our face to present, to be engaged, right? So there's nothing wrong with multitasking. There's nothing wrong with having engagements, events happening one after another. Just always remember, whenever you put that busy up, that busy sign up,
That is so
What
good.
is happening to your heart?
Mm,
What is happening to your core, right? So
right.
it's it's important to self-check. And sometimes perhaps that self-check is not enough, and you need to have other people to help you to check. And that's what I call it, my board of directors, right? My board of directors are people who know me. It doesn't mean that they have to know me for 30 years. People who know me for 3 days may have the insights about me that I don't know. So I needed to stay open, always have an open mind, listen to my board of directors who are sharing, who are willing to share their opinions about me. So, however, I also have to use filter, right? If we listen to everything about us, but not be able to filter it, we may become the garbage can, quote unquote, and just receiving everything, right? So you need to be able to filter what are the things that you can actually turn it into your own, what other things are just let it loose in the dust or loose in the wind. You can't take everything to your heart. So have that self-check and have other people do the check. But when it comes to other people doing the check, you need to turn your filter on, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I also just curious that a can you share a pivotal moment that in your life that shaped who you are today? And also that for the board of director you mentioned, uh, how did you identify those board of directors?
So let me answer the second question first. My board of directors are people who I value their opinions. My first board of directors are my kids, are my 3 kids. I think growing up with my kids, they are like mirrors. They reflect how beautiful I am, how ugly I am, how reasonable I am, how unreasonable I am. So they are my mirrors. By looking at them, I know what kind of human being I am. My husband, when he is willing to share his opinion, certainly my lifelong friends, um, certainly friends that I am making, I have been making. As I said, it has nothing to do with how long this friend has been with me. Um, so I have a very extended board of directors. I also have a very narrow board of directors, narrow numbers of board of directors, if that makes sense. So those are people that I value. And I learned along the years, I cannot just count on a few people. I realize that because when I count on them, it's also a burden for them. And like anything else, it will get worn out.
Mm.
And
So
this is the reason that I have an ever expanding group of board of directors. I have a few
Mhm.
numbers of board of directors that I often go to, but I make a point to myself I cannot always go to. if that makes sense.
So help me to understand that you mentioned about you cannot count on them because you don't want to bring extra burdens for them. So just help us to understand what's your measurement until when that you think you cannot ask beyond of that.
Well, I think every one of us have a scale in our heart. And for me to go to someone to solicit advice, it's actually always dual directional. There's one person asking for advice, there's the other person giving advice. Both sides have to be very willing. And just because this person gave me advice 10 times in a row doesn't mean the 11th time that this person has to give me advice. And everybody is different. The need to hear advice changes all the time. So if I fix my asking on one person, I am expecting that person to be multilateral, multifacets, multi-aspects, on multiple aspects have to be able to answer question. That's not reasonable.
Got you. Got you. Um, s- so, um, in that sense, that my understanding is it's because you're constantly growing. Your mindset is constantly expanding, right? So therefore, does that mean that, constantly asking advice from the same person potentially bring additional stress? Is
Oh,
that right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe so, right? Because if you grow every day, this sounds very tiring, but it is not.
Mhm.
If you tell yourself, if you ask yourself, what do I know today that I didn't know yesterday? If this becomes your habit, it's not tiring. But when you tell someone that you need to grow every day, it sounds very tiring. Well, can I just lay flat one day?
Right.
It's a mindset.
And
I need to know
mm,
that today I know something more. I know something better than yesterday. I need to have that in my life. And I can't ask that to my mentors, to my board of directors, because everybody has different lives. So if today I have an interest in opera, I can't go back to someone just because that person is good at, or that person loves music. I cannot assume that I should get an answer about opera. Yesterday, my son came back. He's 18, and he developed a strong interest in learning poker. I never played. I wanted to play with him. So I asked the ChatGPT. I watched YouTube video, and I was able to play with him along with a couple of other friends. And I enjoyed it tremendously. Tremendously. You see, that's once again that I think my children are the mirrors. They are the motivation for me to become better. And they are certainly stretching the boundaries of my imaginations.
it's wonderful. It's fascinating. Um, fascinating. And but I'm curious that among this along this growing journey, that what are the pivotal moments that
Yes.
your
Yes.
life?
Here comes my answer to your first question. Um, there are many moments like that. There are many moments like that. And I remember there's a verse from Robert Frost's poem, embark on a journey that is less traveled. And I think that every journey that I embark on uh, has never been traveled by myself. And that's the way I look at it. So every journey is brand new to me, to my personal experience. And there are many pivotal moments along this journey. And that's the way I want it. I don't ever want to have one fixed direction. Like a tree that it's dual directional growth. You have to grow deeper and wider into the earth, and you need to grow taller and wider into the air. So there are many, many pivotal moments in my life. The first one I can think of really is reading the story of Madame Curie when I was 7 or 8. And it had a huge influence on me, huge. And I remember, and the second pivotal moment was when I watched, I believe it's a TV series or a movie, a black and white movie about Madame Curie. I remember so clearly, and that's before I was 10, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember so clearly today, until today, this moment, I remember the scene that she walked to her lab. And I remember that how she worked in her lab. Most of all, I remember when Mr. Curie passed away. Madame Curie sat by herself and burned his clothes. And along with a couple of other items, and she was sitting behind the fire. I remember the movie did not show her face intentionally. And and until this day, that I never forget her face. I really should look up. I really should look up the movie, which year it was made. It was made, and the actress who played Madame Curie, because she has all the credits, and I really should have done that.
1943?
I think so.
Yeah,
The
1943.
movie.
Yeah.
And the actress who played her, she was everything. I mean, she taught me everything about Madame Curie, and it was such an inspiration how strong-minded she was. And that is my first pivotal moment, that I wanted to be someone like that. It's not about how famous, it's not about anything financially related. I wanted to be someone that carries that image, that that image that has so fearful when her husband passed away,
Mm.
and yet so fearless at the same time. Um, so never that image just stayed with me. And I'm sure that it will stay with me until my end. Um, so that's the first pivotal moment.
Mm,
Um, and probably the next pivotal moment was when I made the decision and went for um, applied for American visa to come to United States to study. And there's a very important social background
right.
about what's happening in China. And so when I went to apply for my American visa, um, I was denied 8 times in Chengdu American Embassy, 8 times, 8 weeks in a row, because back then you can apply once a week. So, and I remember how optimistic I was every single time. Right after I was denied, I told the counselor, and I said, "Don't worry, I'll be back next week." And I said that 7 times, because the 8th time I went in, before he even had the pleasure of denying me again, I said to him, "This is the last time. And this is the 8th time, and this is the last time.
Mm,
And I am going to Beijing, um, American Embassy to apply. And I'm not giving you the pleasure of denying me again this time." However, I gave 2 more pleasures to the embassy in Beijing to deny me. And the 11th time I got it.
well,
I
well,
think that's another pivotal moment that really shaped a lot of my behaviors later. So when I came to United States, if anything doesn't take 12 times, um, there is no for me. There is no for me. That sounds very annoying though.
so
But it has been the case.
right. So this this story is very inspiring, but for those listeners that hasn't has been exposed to this experience before, I'm just curious that uh, what is that the drive, the ultimate motivation for you, and so inspired you constantly apply, apply.
Um, what is the motivation? One obvious motivation is I want to come to United States, right? So,
Right.
um, I think the drive really is I don't want to take no for an answer. It's just that simple. I believe I will find the way. And I also have an understanding of the person who denied me. I think in a way that I'm kind of sympathizing with him, because whatever his reasons were, I just felt he had to do that. And it's okay. After 8 times, I gave him, seven times of him finding an excuse. Then I just decided I need to try a different person. Um, that's all. I just don't take no for an answer
That's powerful.
unless that I
Mm,
agree there should be a no. But why? Why deny me? It's just no reason, no good reason, I just feel.
yeah, and this was happened back in when was this happened?
Yeah, it was 1989 and end of 1989 and beginning. So I started the journey in Chengdu. That
Yep,
was end of 1989. And
1989.
I went into Beijing in January of 1990.
Yeah,
So um, it's um, it's a very hmm, special time period in China as well.
right. Um, yeah, and so that's such a unforgettable experience. Mm, and we also just curious that how have your personal experiences that influence your professional journeys?
I don't really, I'm glad you asked that question, but I don't really separate my personal from my professional. I understand that the the idea of, everybody talks about strike a balance between your personal life and your career life. I don't really see my life that way. Um, so let me just add one more thing about pivotal or hmm, just important moments in my life. So after I came to United States and I went to Rutgers, I pursued my degree, and after I graduated, also there are so many important moments in my life um, that I feel so grateful for. And so many people have shaped that path that I feel grateful for. And I will get to the personal and professional growth in a minute. But I do wanted to kind of stretch that pivotal moments discussion. And then hopefully by describing this, and you will see how I view my life. I don't view it as two separate parts. So I think after I graduated, I was, uh, during my pursuit of my master's degree at Rutgers, I also worked as an intern at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, which was such a tremendous opportunity for me.
Right.
Um, and after I graduated, another pivotal moment was I decided that a 9 to 5 job is not what I'm looking for. Um, a desk job is not what I'm looking for. Has nothing to do with good, bad, has
Mhm.
nothing to do with that. It's just by working at Sloan Kettering as an intern. And I worked there for 1 year. So I worked there part-time and then I went to school full-time. And so I'm eternally grateful for that working opportunity that Sloan Kettering gave me at their human resources department. Um, and I'm eternally grateful to my bosses um, and all the coworkers there. It just taught me that I cannot sit behind a desk. I needed to be out there and talking and working with people. So instead of pursuing a position, I decided that I needed to try something new, something I never tried before. So another pivotal moment was when I answered newspaper ads and look for jobs.
Right.
And so I met two young men,
Mm.
and they talked to me about being a financial advisor. And I had four interviews with them, four interviews. We talked a lot, but after the first interview, I knew this is what I wanted to do. Working with people, understanding their financial issues, and
Right.
help them to construct a plan. And that was the bare minimum I knew. But all I actually needed to hear is working with people, because that's what I want to do. I want to work with people. I wanted to work with different types of people, different people from all across the cultures, people who truly experiencing this melting pot lifestyle, um, just like me, but not like me, if that makes sense. So,
Make
um, so, so I think that's a really a very important pivotal moment. So until today, I still tease them, and I'm still working with two same person, and this is 32 years later. And I still tease them that you didn't need to interview me 4 times to give me this unbelievable career. You
oh,
just needed the first interview. So, um, so I hope that kind of shares a little um, light just about how I embarked on this journey. And, to be a financial advisor, I think for me, I needed to have conviction. I needed to be passionate about what I do. I need to be convinced by myself that I am doing the right things for my clients. And I need to be persistent. And I know a few things about being persistent after 11 times.
right. Right.
Um, so I think this is a perfect career design for me. And the next question is, well, if in life you find something so perfect for you, don't you love it with all your heart?
Right.
And
Definitely.
so I don't have a clear mark of this is my career, this is my personal. I don't. Um, I love my life. I love everything I do in a day. I think sometimes that I probably will say, well, not interested in doing this. Well, it's okay. Put it aside and do something else and just move on. Well, sometimes I say, I don't like prospecting. I don't like calling people today. It doesn't mean that tomorrow I don't pick up the phone. It just means that at this moment I cannot do it. But give me another moment or give me another task that I would do. So for me, that I think, um, I remember the two gentlemen when they interviewed me, they asked me, what is your goal in 5 years, 10 years? And I remember my answer until this day. And I think both of them still tell me they remember what I said. Uh, so I said I don't have a goal for 5 years, 10 years. I have a goal for my lifetime is I want to turn my leisure into my work and I want to turn my work into my leisure. So the matter the fact that I travel extended amount of time
Yeah.
every single year is just part of my work and leisure. If I meet someone along my journey out of nowhere, I meet that person for who he or she is. And life is very interesting that you never know who you will meet, and you never know the person you meet, how that person is going to shape your life in return. So I think my way of embarking on my career is the same way of embarking on my life, my family, in my family life, right? So when mutually my husband and I decided to form a family, I don't say, well, he's my best choice for now. We'll see what happens next. I don't say that. I don't feel that. I don't think that way. I think he's the best choice for me, and I am going to make this relationship work. And whoever comes next is going to be part of the journey, but not playing that role. Doesn't matter that person, good, bad, ugly. So when I embark on this career journey, this is the best I believe for me, and I'm going to make it work. It's simple, right? So the family life is the same way. It's dual directional, making it work type of spirit, right? So it's the same thing with my career. I don't, when I first started working, that I worked 24/7. One day I got home and our house was robbed. Somebody broke in and took our things. And back then there's no cell phone, right? So I called 911. The police is on the way, and I waited until my husband got home, and I said, honey, we were robbed. And I called the police. You wait for the police, and I have to go to my next appointment. And that's what I did. I went on to an evening appointment. I met the young couple in East Brunswick. I never forget. And we talked about their college funding. And then on the way back home, that's when this being robbed hit me. So that was it. Just get it done. And that young couple are still my clients today. And that was 32 years ago. So I think it's just make it work in life. Every day we encounter something difficult. We encounter something that put us in a bad mood. We encounter somebody who's not so kind to us. You make it work.
Make it work. So what advice that would you give to someone that, looking to embark on the journey of improvement, or just embark on a journey of becoming a financial advisor?
I think okay. So let me first talk about career choices, and then I talk about financial being a financial advisor because truthfully, it's not for everyone. It's the same for any business. Not any business is for anyone, right? So it's true
Right.
across the industry.
Right.
But let me just share one more thing about this balancing personal life and professional growth, right?
Right.
So I think when I was able to devote myself 24/7 to my career, that's one thing. But I hit a point that so miraculously, I became a mother for the first time.
Right.
It is a miracle. It is a miracle. And I believe all the mothers should just pat themselves on the back. And so are the fathers. But it is a miracle that when your family size grow from 2 to 3, and how about to 4? How about to 5? So for me, 3 miracles that we have 3 kids, right? So that calls for change. And people often talk about balancing your family and your career. And I never see two things being separate. I think being able to attend my children's events are my career, is part of my career. Is part of my career. I need to make my career work so it can accommodate the need for me to be at my kids' events. That's part of my career. So when I had our first daughter, I
Right.
decided, okay, I'm not going to evening appointments anymore because I want to spend evenings with her. But it doesn't mean that I just cut out evenings, right? It means change of my working strategies, change of my way, my methods of engaging my clients. It doesn't mean that I just say, hey, I'm cutting out 40% of my working hours. It's not. It's not. It's just making adjustments. So for me, it's a shifting from working with 9 to 5 professionals because of their 9 to 5. So I have to meet them at during the evening hours, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I change. I changed to working with business owners. Okay, so business owners, then I see you during the day and I have my evening hours for my kids. Right? That's it.
Right.
So when I have one child, that's a shift. When I have my second child, I need more of a shift, right? So before I gave birth to my second child, I was also working as a district manager, meaning that not only I have my own practice of being a financial advisor, I was also managing 8 other financial advisors' career, right?
Right.
So I changed. When I had my second child, I cut out the managerial side of the business. I changed. Did I sacrifice? No, it's only a change. It's only a change. So when I had my third child, there's another change. It's only change. It's not sacrificing to me. To me, it's not, right? And then the reason that I need to work so efficiently and effectively, and I pay attention to who I need and want to work with, I become selective of my clients. I made all the change to adapt to the lifestyle that I need to have with my kids.
So here's a question, Yin, that's what is your thought process to identify the right change?
Well, whether the change is right for you or not, you are the best judge.
Right,
Okay, so when it's not working for you, you just need to keep changing until you find the way it works for you, right? So for example, how do I evaluate that it's working for me? Well, my production is going up, not going down.
right.
That's one measurement for my career.
Yep,
I am working with other financial advisors, more, not less. My clients are satisfied by the quality of service I provide to them on a timely basis, which is very important. How I measure. And I'm not skipping, I'm not missing my children's activities.
right.
That's how I measure. Whether it's right or wrong or not sufficient, you are the best judge. You will know. And if it's not right, make it work.
Mm. Uh, so how about that's the failures, played in your success?
Many, many, right? Um, many times of failed actions, right? I remember Michael Jordan because when I came to the United States, I think the Chicago Bulls was the symbol for NBA for me. For
Right,
me, there are many other Lakers, many other NBA teams that were fantastic, but Michael Jordan is the hmm, is the symbol for basketball for me. So um, I remember one interview that he said, the reason that he scored 3-pointers always at the critical moment, he was able to score 3-pointers. He was able to save the game. He was able to turn it around. It's all because he failed more times than scored during his practice. And that is true in my life, right?
yep, right,
10 times failed getting visa led to the 11th time getting it. So I'm very, very lucky because I experienced pretty extraordinary failures in
right,
my early days
right.
that probably give me some credit. So I don't have um, you know, failures that will knock me down. It's just a different way of looking at your failures, right? I don't think there's failures in life. It's just different motivations for you to be better. That's all.
Uh, so uh, my understanding is like you treat failures as a motivation. Eh, Did
In
I
most
get that right?
cases,
Right,
yes. Yes. It's a motivation for me to look at things from a different light. There's a very famous Yu Qiuyu.
right,
Um, well, how do I categorize him? He's a intellectual,
right,
very famous intellectual in China. And one time that he's one of his friends engaged in a conversation with him about money.
Right.
Because the friend asked him that, so-and-so borrowed money from you and never returned it. And so-and-so borrowed money from you, never returned it. Why didn't you go after those people?
Right.
And he said, well, I consider all of those goodwills out there. They are the interests that I'm earning.
Right.
So, okay, not everybody is able to say that about money.
Right. Right.
But if you look at it from his angle, doesn't that help you?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So not everything that you can walk away so lighthearted, right? But at
Right.
least we should try. At least we should try. And I think that by reading, by being observative in life, whether it's small or big, all of those help us to face challenges in life. And I think I really benefit tremendously from looking at things from a different angle. I always remind myself, when I encounter something unpleasant, I remind myself, look from a different angle. Can you look from a different angle? Not necessarily from the other person's point of view, though. Not necessarily, because a lot of times if you think alike, you probably would have done the same thing as the other person, right? Which
Right.
causing you the unpleasantness in you. But you can look from a different angle, just from your perspective. Look at it from a different angle, from an angle that will help you not being knocked down. What will be that angle to keep you going? Just believe in that. Always look at things from multiple angles. And that's why that I think life is so, there's a movie, Life is Beautiful, and I love that movie, and I not necessarily just from the acting, the story. No, it's from the wisdom. It's from look at things from a different perspective. And I often remind myself, and I think a lot of times that the problems in life results from the definition, results from the perspective, right? If we are able to change definition of things, we eliminate most of the problems. If we are able to look at things from a different perspective, we develop understanding, we develop appreciation, we develop sympathy and empathy, if that makes sense.
Right. So definitely in the we're just pivot to differently a little bit. The trophies, and you have received so many of countless of trophies and accomplishments. So among all of those trophies you received, are there any like significant, super important or meaningful trophies?
Well, thank you for asking that question. I think I take them very dearly to my heart, each and every one of them, because they are a symbol, they are a milestone of what I have accomplished. I I don't want it to come out the wrong way. So I needed to be careful about how I describe it. I believe that I think the trophies, the plaques, the honors that I received, and I sure hope I will receive more, um, carries equal weight to the red flower that I received when I was in elementary school from my teacher. And they carry the equal weight to the little flowers, the little notes, um, the short letters that my children have given me. And I sure hope they will keep giving me those gestures because I am worthy of being their mother.
Right.
Um, so all of those things in my eyes, it's not a one thing outweighs the other. It's what make me a whole person. Missing any part of that um, is not good, if that makes sense.
Uh, Definitely. So, my understanding is like you value and treasure each single little, trophies, and big and small, but you value them equally. Uh, am I
I think,
hearing that correctly?
I think, hmm, okay. Let's not use equally. Let's not use this word.
Yep.
Um, the reality is they all have such a special place in my heart. And I know that it sounds like a politician, and I'm certainly not a politician. I
Right.
am I am pulling my heart out and holding my hand in front of you. So, but they all have that little tiny place in my heart that they are so important to me. It's impractical for me to weigh them, which
Right.
one weighs a little more.
Right.
It's totally against my beliefs to weigh them. I think all of that make me a whole person.
Right.
Mm.
Um, so, you know, your there are different different class of reserve receivers. So sometimes uh is you have excellent receivers that they treasure and value each things that message or little gift that they receive, and then you have a selective receivers, and then they select and choose. So my
Yeah.
understanding is like successful people like you, that's excellent receivers, and you just treasure each little affirmation or the word or affirmation or what we would say that's appreciations. Did I hear that correctly?
I think I understand your point, and um I think all the trophies are very important,
Yeah, right,
but don't live for them.
right,
Don't live for them. You pave your own path. You try your best, but don't live for trophies. And it's the same thing same thing about the relationship between me and my children.
Right.
If I always wanted to receive compliments from my children, I will fail. If I
Right.
always expected to be agreed with by my children, I will fail. If I always expect appreciation from my children, I will fail because we are all different.
Right.
My act, my love to my kids can be interpreted and is being interpreted differently by three of them. So I think I'm a more I'm a person that look at myself more than look for recognition from others.
Uh, right. That's resonated. That's resonated. Um, that's wonderful. If you would to give some advice, or from your perspective, right? The healthy relationship between you and trophies and between you and failures, how would how would you describe that, or what advice would you give?
I think all the failures gave me the trophies, right? All of
Mm.
my failures
Mhm.
lead me to my trophies. Without the failure, there probably will be a whole lot less trophies. The Chinese philosophy of yin and yang,
Yes.
it's 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 always in harmony, but it's not standing still. It's the moving parts in harmony. And
Right.
one thing leads to the other,
Right.
right? And
Yes.
then
Right.
sometimes many trophies lead to my failures,
Right.
right? So I give you an example. So let me share an example, and I really wanted to share this philosophy of yin and yang, and one leads to the other. So this is the reason that when you are standing at the peak and thinking you have achieved in life, you need to be careful because you're gonna embark a path that is very different from before, right? So it's the yin leads to yang and yang leads to yin, and it's forever moving. And I think all my failures in life, in my professional career, really leading to my trophies, and my trophies also leading me to my failures. And I share an example. I had mentioned to you that I learned how to play poker.
Right.
So we were playing, and um and it's tremendously interesting, and it's so skillful, I think.
Right.
Um, so we played in hand, and I kind of guessed the other person is bluffing.
Mm.
Um, and so I insist on, okay, so I won that hand. Not because I have very good cards, just because I believed so firmly the other person is bluffing.
Right.
Okay, so I won. The next hand, I actually had really good cards, really good.
Right.
And I won the previous time.
Right.
I had really good cards, and I was so confident,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Right.
And I lost.
How did you lose?
because the other person had better cards, and I thought my cards were the best. You see? You see? And I lost to the same person
The
because
first
last
person
time he bluffed.
he bluffed. He's the person you okay, you won. And then the second time, you have a better card and you lost.
Yeah. Because you see, that's in life, there are so many variables contributing to your decision making. Sometimes you are conscious about them, sometimes you are unconscious. But your subconscious is actually making that decision for you. So it's a multiple variables that making that decision, leading me to believe that I have such a good hand. There's no way I will lose.
Right,
Plus that person bluffed last time.
right.
So I lost. So my point is this. Just always be mindful. There are things you don't know about, no matter what you do. And be humble enough to admit there are things you don't know about. And those things that you don't know about yet at this moment, hopefully you are lucky enough, you will learn next time, if
Right.
that makes sense.
Absolutely. Um, that's such a profound wisdom. Mm. And so the next the next topic is the inspirational empowerment. And could you share some empowering advice for our listeners that who might be struggling with their own challenges?
Everybody has different challenges in life. And I think little me cannot say that I can understand their challenges. Many things I cannot even imagine what people are going through. What I had went through is unique to my life, and so is the same way for everyone out there. If you are listening, in Chinese we have an idiom called 感同身受.
Right,
That means that I can sympathize, I can empathize what you are going through. However, in life, I don't think anyone else can truly experience what you are going through. I don't think so. No matter how much love they share with you. So you have to be the key to solve it. And I'm only asking to be humble enough to understand there are things you don't know yet and be open to learn. And there's so much grace in asking for help. I think sometimes I'm a very stubborn person. And I always believe that I can solve the problems. And if I cannot solve the problems just are unsolvable in my past. I learn there are powers beyond me. I learn there's so much grace for asking for help when I need. I may not get help when I asked for. Doesn't stop me from asking for help from a different person, or perhaps asking for help from a different perspective. Sometimes I laugh that how persistent a child can be. And I remember I was like that. But then as I grow older, I lose that. I lose that curiosity. I lose that persistency that was in me. My kids will ask for something 5 times the same way. To the end, I would say, just because you ask me multiple times, you're not getting a different answer.
Right.
Right? But then
Right.
when I say that, then they come back and they ask a different question and for the same thing. Now they learn, right?
Right.
So as an adult, we lose that. We
Right.
become shy, even asking once for help,
Right.
right? So
Right.
I just think that when you're struggling through something like all of us do,
Right.
I have my struggles this morning. So when you are going through, everyone has a different way of solving problems. But perhaps just add that one more thing.
What is
One
that?
more thing is asking for help.
Right.
And if you already did and you were not helped, that's not the right person. Find someone else. In the good old days, I write them down. I love writing.
Right.
I think writing is very therapeutic to me. So I write them down. I don't know if that makes sense, but think of your most annoying nephew. Think of your most annoying cousin that when they ask that question 3 times in a row, you do that. Do it once and do it to a different people.
Right. See, so for those who are experiencing challenges that we received, and this wonderful advice, say that a couple of layers, right? Like you have to believe that you are the key to resolve it,
Hmm.
and and to believe that that there is a power beyond of you yourself, and be open-minded to learn, and there are so much grace to ask for help, and that's the little thing, um
Hmm.
ask for help, and if you're not receiving the help you needed, ask one more time, ask another person.
Absolutely.
Right. And
Thank you for summarizing them so beautifully, CiCi.
thank you for yeah, for sharing this wisdom. I haven't explored that you could have multiple layers to uh to see this, yeah, so to proceed this. So this is a wonderful. They thank you for that. I'm sure that the listeners will appreciate that tremendously. So the last, I have 2 more questions, and then we wrap it up for the closing remark from you, if that is okay. So
Absolutely.
Right. So then the next two questions is really about, uh, in the beginning you mentioned about, a couple of people is been, your board of directors and, providing you advice, but really wanted to learn that who are your role models, like,
Mm.
and how have they influenced your journey?
Um, you know, um, I said if we can change the definition of things, that we will have no problems in this world, right? So the definition of role models are vastly different from person to person. Would you agree?
Uh, uh,
The
I'm curious to learn.
the definition of role models are um, vastly different. I think my definition of role models are people who um, have done better than me in writing, people who have um, exercised more sympathies to other people, people who exercised more than I do, um, people who pay attention to their parents more than I do. Just my role models are in my life every day. They're not, you know, they they don't need to be Michael Jordan every day, even though he definitely is one of my role models. Madame Curie um, is my role model. My parents are my role model. My older sister and my older brother are my role models. My children are my role models. My husband definitely is my role model. Um, so I have a hard time answer that question, CiCi. um, I think I think all of them contribute to shaping who I am today. The Confucius say that walk among two other, one of them will be my teacher. I just believe that I learn from everybody I encounter somehow, some way. I can be sitting at the airport lounge and just mind my business, and I notice something, um, by another person, I think that person just taught me something. So my role models don't have to be right all the time. Who can be right all the time? That's so tiring. So if I learn something from this person, he or she is my role model in that perspective, on my mind. Um, but if I have to name a few, just all the people I named, that my friends, I learned things from them. So I don't know. My definition of role model is, I think, is in the broader sense, is just people I learn from. They are my role models. But I don't model myself after anyone. I am fiercely myself. I'm fiercely independent. I am myself. I don't model myself after anybody. And I learn from almost everybody, if that makes sense. So,
Right. This is very profound. Mm. And so you mentioned that you don't model yourself to others. Um, y- how did you arrive to that perspective?
I think that's an excellent question. If I say that I was born this way, that's that may not be an exaggeration.
It's acceptable. It's
I
yeah,
I think I think from very young age, I just very clearly knew that I am myself. Just I don't model myself after anyone. I don't go after any fashion trend. I don't buy things that is in fashion today. I love things just the way I do. I become friends with people. I learn from them, but I very clearly know I am not them. So it's more like it's more like a sponge. I kind of absorb, but then I squeeze out the things I don't like, right?
right.
So I'm very self-obsessed. That sounds so bad, but it is probably the word to describe. I just wanted to remain very independent. I absorb, but I do squeeze out things that are not for me. Um, so I don't model myself after anyone. I just I just develop myself. That's all.
Amazing, amazing. And any recommendations for books?
Oh, there are so many of them. It's yeah. Okay. So I'm glad that we are talking about books.
Yeah.
So my nightstand, my daughter gave me a gift. It's called those floating bookshelves, you know. So they are bookshelves, and once you put all your books on them, once the shelves are full,
Right,
when you look at the shelf, it feels like your books are floating in the air. So you don't see the frame.
right.
Yeah, so they're like
Oh, I got
they
you.
call it like
Right.
floating bookshelves. So
Wonderful.
I have
Mm,
books everywhere. I don't read one book. I read multiple books at the same time. Um, I don't believe that one book shaped me so tremendously. I
right,
think um, reading nonstop, um, not just read today, not able to read every day, um, read nonstop, has really tremendously give me tremendous pleasure and really shaping me. So my favorite author is Marcel Proust. Um, I I know he's not everybody's tea, um, but I enjoy his writing so much. I lost myself just to read his verses, his long verses. You know that his long verse is he holds the world record of writing the longest sentence. Okay, so it's crazy, but that's me. I lose myself in reading Marcel Proust. That's how strange I am, but but I I really, I would be doing such an injustice if I name one or two books and thinking they shaped me. That would be so unfair. to all the books that I have read, and I'm still reading. Um, reading is probably the second pleasure that I enjoy so much. By far, traveling is my number one passion. Uh, but I always have books with me when I travel. And I'm just so glad that my daughter is the same way, you know,
That
fiercely independent. She is 100% herself.
that is amazing.
I'm just glad that she always has a book in her bag.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Oh, such a have a such amazing habit since she was young. Uh, so thank you. And so for the listeners, yes, and we do have a name here, the writer Marcel Proust. Find their books.
Which by the way has nothing to do with my career. It has nothing to do with my life, and obviously that the life that Proust described is so remote from us, um, but I enjoy so
You
much.
enjoy it.
And in addition, I read all sorts of books, and I read two, three, four books at the same time, and they are so wonderful. My son just gave me the book he finished reading, the Vegetarian by, the famous Korean writer Han Kang. Um, he finished, and um, he just gave me that book, and I'm hesitating if I should embark on that right away for many other reasons. That's a totally different topic.
Right. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. And really just we are honored, and it is a blessing. We received so much of like wisdoms, and we learned so much about you and your journey. So any final thoughts that are on your mind, your heart?
Um, well, first and foremost, CiCi, I really want to thank you for doing this. I think even before you started, I said to you, CiCi, you're such a treasure. Um, and you have such a big heart, beautiful heart you wanted to share. And I think in today's age, digital age, that I just hope that your message will reach more people, will help more people. And I don't care what people walk away with, even just one sentence that make their day a bit lighter. I think you're doing such a great thing. Um, and I just wish you best of luck and keep doing it because, we didn't come to this world asking for easy things. This is not easy. I understand. It's a huge commitment from you, huge commitment from you, and takes tremendous amount of efforts, time, energy, most of all, your 100% attention. So I'm just so happy that you are doing this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Yin. This is dedicated back to you because with your encouragement and beliefs, and with your guidance, it's a blessing to me and also to our listeners. And hopefully that we can invite you back in the future. Thank,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be delighted to join you.
thank you so much. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and bye bye. Bye bye,
Thank,
listeners. Bye bye. See you next time.
thank you, CiCi. Bye.
Thank you.